Many things can be said about Amadeus Cho. He's the seventh smartest person in the world, he's Korean American, he's friends with the Hulk, and he even became the Hulk himself. Cho's totally awesome intelligence gets him into trouble as often as it gets him out of it. And it all started with a simple internet game that kicked off his superhero career. 16-year-old Amadeus Cho attained the highest score in the internet game? Brain Soap, created by the Excello Soap Company, which made him the seventh smartest person in the world. He was approached by a woman named Agent Sexton, saying that an agency wanted to train him. In reality, she was actually employed by the game's creator Pythagoras Dupree, a crazy and paranoid former child prodigy who was determined to destroy anyone rivaling him for intelligence. Amadeus refused, and his life was literally blown to pieces. His home in Arizona was destroyed in an explosion, one that killing his parents. Although Dupree had meant to kill him, Amadeus escaped and made his way to Jackalope, New Mexico, as he was being pursued as well. Suspicious of the circumstances, he contacted Agent Sexton, and did not believe her claim that the act had been perpetrated by another agency. Continuing on, he adopted an orphan coyote pup, who was with him when he was attacked by helicopters who had located him. In an effort to save himself, Amadeus deflected an attacker, causing one helicopter to misfire a missile and hit a bystander. This was no ordinary bystander, however, but Bruce Banner, and the attack triggered his transformation into the Hulk. After destroying the helicopter, the Hulk also rescued Amadeus and his coyote. Amadeus would never forget what the Hulk did for him. He revered the superhero so much that later on, Cho would himself take on the same powers as the totally awesome Hulk. Amadeus Cho is the seventh smartest person on Earth. He is so brilliant that he can perform extraordinarily difficult mental calculations without the help of a calculator or computer, and do so back to back. Although, this does tire him out. Amadeus also has the ability to see patterns that others can't, which makes him capable of solving problems on a quantum level. He usually carries some device altered to control nearby electrical signals. As a master computer hacker and inspired inventor, he designs an AI suit, the supercomputer aspect named Calvin, which gives him flight capability, augmented strength, and a protective energy field along with a universal translator. As the Prince of Power, he wields the golden mace of Hercules, which can channel energy. In recent years, Amadeus became the totally awesome Hulk, which gives him all the strength, speed, and rampaging destruction of the original Hulk. Pythagoras Dupree was the first major villain that propelled Amadeus onto the path of a superhero. After all, Dupree is responsible for the death of Cho's parents and sister. When facing off with Dupree, Amadeus chose not to enact revenge, but simply walk away, though it devastated him. By befriending the Hulk, Amadeus also incurs the ire of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the days of the Superhuman Registration Act. One of Amadeus' closest friends is his coyote pup Kirby that he adopted. He loves and protects his pet, but also has trained it to work alongside him. Kirby often distracts opponents or searches for things in order to help Cho. Amadeus recruits former champions Hercules, Angel, Warren Worthington III, and the Atlantean Namora to help the Hulk after he was shot into space. Unfortunately, the returned Hulk attacks New York. As the Renegades, Amadeus and his allies help S.H.I.E.L.D. restore some safety to the city. In his days as a member of the Champions, Cho teams up with the likes of Nova, Ironheart, Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, Viv Vision, and a young Scott Summers, and becomes a crucial element to this young force for good. Recently, he's adopted a new physical form, one less hulking than what he appeared as before. To go with his new look, Cho had adopted a new name, Brawn. After Amadeus' run-in with the Hulk, who subsequently disappeared, Amadeus was targeted by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents for violating the new Superhuman Registration Act. However, Amadeus had already hacked S.H.I.E.L.D. when he was trying to learn all about the Hulk, and so was able to get away. He then broke into a S.H.I.E.L.D. lab in the former Avengers Tower to download data for the Illuminati. However, the security breach was detected by Director Maria Hill, who tried to take him out. Once he returned to New Mexico, Amadeus discovered one of Banner's hidden bases and hacked the Fantastic Four to try and find the whereabouts of the Hulk. In this process, he learned that the Hulk had been sent to space by Mr. Fantastic and others. To try and save the superhero he felt indebted to, Amadeus recruited other heroes who felt the same way, like Hercules and Angel. However, Hulk arrived from space and attacked New York City with his war-bound comrades. In order to try and defend the world against the enraged Hulk, Dr. Strange used the demon Zom's power to fight him. Unfortunately, the demon Essence partially escaped his control and possessed Iron Man's Hulkbuster armor, which it used to both wreak havoc and learn how to best devastate New York City with S.H.I.E.L.D.'s resources. Amadeus was able to trick the demon into entering his own body instead. Because Amadeus had no superpowers, he was able to be contained by Angel and Zom was defeated. When the crisis ended, S.H.I.E.L.D. took Amadeus and Hercules into custody. Although cooperating at first, Hercules changed his mind when his half-brother Ares, an Avenger, used the situation to try and humiliate him. Together they escaped, but Amadeus? Coyote Pup Kirby was severely injured during a surprise attack by Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. Consumed with anger and vengeance, Amadeus swore to take control of every S.H.I.E.L.D. facility he could and destroy the organization. After the Skrulls' invasion, Amadeus joined Hercules and Thor to combat the threat of the evil god Amatsumi Kaboshi. Cho helped Hercules create the second God Squad, which consisted of Circe, Venus, Thor, Daimon, Hellstrom, Silver Surfer, and Galactus. Amatsumi Kaboshi was finally defeated by being thrown into a sealed-off continuum created by Cho and Galactus. When the Olympus group sought to replace Earth with a new reality, Cho and Hercules summoned the Avengers to attack. Hercules lost his life in the battle and Amadeus temporarily inherited the mantle of Prince of Power until Hercules returned to life again. The Olympian goddess of wisdom, Athena, saw Cho's great promise and decided to make him the permanent Prince of Power. This meant that Hercules, Cho's best friend and the holder of the position, must have been killed to make way for the new prince. Amadeus did his best to protect his friend, but Hercules perished. Cho eventually ascended to full godhood in order to bring Hercules back from Hades and reinstated him as the Prince of Power. As the Prince of Power, however, he beat Agamemnon to become a god and used his powers to find Hercules, whom he then granted his new power to. Cho also once dated Delphine Gorgon, Queen of the Amazons. Later, Amadeus was trapped in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with X-23, Laura Kinney, Spider-Girl, Powerman, and Thunderstrike. While fending off samurai sharks, the others found out that Amadeus had manipulated them into joining him in a new superhero group and rejected his ultimate offer. Cho later took on the powers of Hulk, becoming the totally awesome Hulk. When Bruce Banner took in a lethal amount of radiation, Amadeus created nanites that removed the Hulk from Banner's body and placed it in his own. He used his newfound abilities to hunt dangerous monsters, but since he was still a kid and not fully practiced with his new powers, he was labeled irresponsible. Nevertheless, he joined forces with She-Hulk and Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man, on his monster hunt before being captured by Lady Hellbender, an alien woman with strength comparable to that of the Hulk. He was rescued by She-Hulk and Maddie Cho, his sister, though, just in time to fight a horde of monsters including Fin Fang Foom. Not long after, Amadeus began to have strange dreams about his dead parents and experienced blackouts where he became the Hulk without having any control over the transformations. Upon hearing this was happening, Maddie feared that Cho's Hulk was becoming like Banner's Hulk, wild, violent, unpredictable, and, most importantly, uncontrollable. He was later ensnared by Enchantress, who used him, as Hulk, of course, to steal URU metal, so that she and her partner Malekith the Accursed could make weapons for an army that would help the two conquer the 10 realms. Thor believed Amadeus guilty, but Maddie cooled the god's anger and convinced Amadeus to fight alongside Thor against Enchantress and Malekith's army, despite Cho's fear that he'd lose control again. Joining forces, Thor and Amadeus defeated the villains, with Hulk using an axe that could destroy URU-made weaponry. During the Second Superhero Civil War, Amadeus informed Bruce Banner that he was finally free of all radiation. Without the Hulk's incredible healing powers, an ecstatic Bruce came down with the flu. However, Amadeus became distraught over the death of Banner at the hands of Hawkeye, who was trying to prevent a Hulk massacre predicted by the inhuman Ulysses Kane. He taunted Captain Marvel, a proponent of acting on Ulysses's visions, in the Appalachian Mountains before heading out to confront Hawkeye. However, the person waiting for him was Black Panther, who fought Hulk in his own interpretation of Tony Stark's Hulkbuster suit. Amadeus was sidetracked when he was then called to fight a giant insectoid monster in Texas, but found Hawkeye weeks later in a diner in Topeka, Kansas. Cho voiced his wish to kill Barton out of revenge, but instead, his anger cooled and the two cried over the death of their friend, Bruce Banner. Amadeus was then recruited by Ms. Marvel, Nova, and Miles Morales to join the Champions, a group of young heroes who wanted to set the world back to the way it was. Cho convinced them to also recruit the Vision's daughter, Viv. During their adventures, they were captured by Atlanteans, joined forces with Gwenpool, helped fight a town being plagued by hate crimes, and battled the Freelancers, a group of super-powered delinquents who wanted to give the Champions a bad name. Following the secret Empire Hydra takeover of the United States, the Champions joined the underground fight against them and their leader, Hydra Supreme Captain America. They witnessed the battle between Hydra Cap and the real Steve Rogers before going to search for Ms. Marvel. They then came across a walled-off compound that housed inhuman prisoners, and Amadeus revealed he helped build it years ago, intending for it to be a prison for the original Hulk. Later, Hulk destroyed 2 cyborgs made of adamantium and met up with Old Man Logan, Sabretooth, and Domino. The Weapon X program, led by the resurrected William Stryker, collected samples of Cho's DNA, which were then used to create a mutant-Hulk hybrid called Weapon H.